The plans to assassinate Hitler. Lock in. I start school on Monday. That's horrible, dude. Sorry to hear that. You're gonna miss like the first hour or two of stream.
Adolf Hitler is giving a speech in a beer hall in Munich.
Yo, low-key, I think I could have killed Hitler, like, mad easy. If I was in a crowd with him, I think I would have keistered a pistol. Okay, maybe not a pistol. I don't think I'd be able to keister a pistol. He was not protected on that crowd. Well, I mean, he had protection, but it wasn't like the Secret Service. I mean, a lot of people, they probably, like, you know, ensured that he was safe, but at the end of the day, I feel like assassinating Hitler in, like, the 1930s was probably easier than killing a president today.
Right behind him in the column, a bomb has been hidden away, and it is about to go off. The German carpenter and Nazi opponent Georg Elser has planned this moment for months. He knew Hitler would be here tonight. He knew when exactly the Führer would give a speech. Elser installed explosives with a time fuse. At exactly 9:20 p.m., his bomb is supposed to detonate. The explosion causes the entire ceiling above the podium to collapse. 63 people get injured, 8 die. But Hitler isn't one of them. He left the beer hall earlier than expected at
Oh my god, he left before he was supposed to?
9:07 p.m. Georg Elser failed. But this was just one of many attempts to assassinate Hitler. One of almost 40. Today, we take a look at some of the most spectacular plans to rid the world of
Bro, imagine how different history would have been if somebody succeeded in killing Hitler, like, in the late 1930s. Or, like, even, like, 1940 or some shit. Like, in the early/midst of the war.
Nazi leader. Why did they all fail? How
do you think they would have tried to keep going? Is my question. Like, say World War II just starts, right? And Hitler dies. Do you think that, like, his right-hand men would step up and become, like, the new Hitler? Or do you think that everybody would have given up? I think he held them together, but I think there were guys, like, his right-hand men, like, Goebbels or whatever, like, a lot of those guys were as keen on killing people as he was.
Did he keep getting away? Was Hitler just...
Yeah, Heinrich Himmler or whatever his name was.
That
Heinrich
lucky?
Himmler, just Goebbels,
or
all
was
those
there
guys.
more to
it? Priest who saved them from drowning was kind of an L. Well, you got to keep in mind the priest didn't know when he was saving kid Hitler from drowning that that guy would grow up to be a dictator that actually causes a genocide. I don't think the priest saving however old Hitler was, like 5, would go, this guy's gonna grow up to, you know, be a dictator. Like, how did he wouldn't have known that.
This is Henning von Tresckow, a first general staff officer in the Wehrmacht. At first, he's a supporter of Hitler when he seizes power in 1933. But that will soon change. Tresckow's turning point comes in 1941, when Germany attacks the Soviet Union. He thinks Hitler's invasion is military madness. He thinks they will lose the war. But Tresckow also has moral concern.
Was the plan, like, actual world domination, though? Or just taking over Europe? Like, was Hitler's plan to legitimately run the entire world? That's just unfeasible. Let's say, hypothetically, the U.S. never got involved, the nuclear bomb was never made, all of these things happened, and he took over the entirety of Earth. You can't hold that much power without it collapsing. He wanted to claim Europe specifically and make Germany the size of Russia. I already read that.
He knows about the mass murder of Jewish people. He knows what the regime is doing. A resolve forms within him. He's convinced that this mad dictator must be stopped at all cost. And in spring of 1943, Tresckow makes his move. He manages to persuade his commander-in-chief Günther von Kluge to invite Hitler to Smolensk in the Soviet Union. Here, Tresco is stationed, and the Führer agrees. On March the 13th, 1943, he makes a stopover in Smolensk on his flight from Vinnytsia to his headquarters in East Prussia. At lunch, Tresco asks Lieutenant Colonel Heinz Brandt, who is traveling with Hitler on the plane, for a favor. Brandt is to deliver a package containing 2 bottles of Control cognac to a friend of Tresco's in East Prussia. Tresco tells him that he lost a bet. Instead of 2 bottles of alcohol, however, the package contains a bomb with a detonator. Tresco wants to feign an airplane accident.
Why don't they just shoot him? Because they're trying to protect themselves, I'm guessing? Like, this guy could, because I'm assuming he's like a high-ranking officer, he's probably allowed to have a gun around Hitler. Literally, you're sitting in the room with 2 other guys and Hitler, kill all 3 of them, and go. And then when the guy comes in, go, dude, they killed Hitler, and then they were trying to kill me, so I had to kill them. Like, it was insane, man. Like, they pulled my gun, and then they tried to kill him, and then I was like, oh my god, I have to fucking do something, and then I shot everybody.
An airplane accident. His co-conspirator, Fabian von
They probably wouldn't believe that shit. They would probably go, nah, we think you killed Hitler.
Schlabrendorf secretly activates the time pencil and then hands the package to Brandt. The plane takes off at around 3 p.m. On board are Hitler, Brandt, and the bomb. The bomb is
so he was gonna die for it?
Supposed to explode within an hour. Schlabrendorf set the timer by crushing a glass vial filled with a corrosive liquid in the time pencil. The airplane should crash at about the height of Minsk. But Hitler lands in his headquarters unscathed. Brandt had packed the package in the cold cargo hold. The acid detonator had frozen.
Oh my god.
Tresco immediately calls Heinz Brandt and tells him that he accidentally gave him the wrong package. The next day, Schlabrendorf flies to East Prussia, exchanges the package with 2 bottles of cognac, and defuses the bomb.
Woo!
Producing videos like this one
Where do they get this info? They fucking write about it, dude.
Nation attempt failed, but he didn't get caught either.
History?
In fact, he was part of a sworn circle of military resistance fighters determined to kill Hitler, and they were far from giving up. A key figure in the group was Lieutenant Colonel Klaus Schenk Graf von Stauffenberg.
Dude, what a long fucking name. Hey man, name's Joe Bart. What's your name? Klaus Schenk Graf von Stauffenberg. Klaus Schenk Graf von Stauffenberg. You can call me Graf von Stauffenberg for short. Can I just call you Klaus? I mean...
Over the years, he became the head of the military conspiracy. Tresco and Stauffenberg were close companions, and they were always looking for a new opportunity to eliminate the Führer. They didn't have to wait for long. Fast forward.
How did none of these work?
9 months. This is Axel Freiherr von dem Busch.
Oh my god.
He's
Axel Freiherr von dem Busch.
An officer, almost 2 meters tall, blonde, and has blue eyes. He truly embodies the Nazi ideal. This appearance is supposed to provide him with the perfect opportunity to kill Hitler. Von dem Busch.
Dude, I always wonder who I was related to in Germany in the 1940s. Because I have German ancestors. Like, I'm German and Italian. So, somebody that I was related to was alive in Germany in 1940. I don't know who, but someone. Hopefully just, you know, a citizen. The odds are just a citizen, but... Bro said gulp? Bro said gulp? Yo, relax. Dude, realistically, I would have known if I was related to fucking Adolf Hitler, chat. Shut up. VLP for the sub.
And a group of other soldiers are to present...
That explains the screaming. Yeah, you're getting timed out.
A new Wehrmachtsuniform to Hitler at his headquarters.
Adolf's kids didn't have children? Yeah, they made a pact.
Von dem Busch plans to use a hidden British hand grenade to blow himself up along with the dictator. But then in Berlin, a railroad wagon is destroyed by an Allied bomb. It contained the new uniforms. No uniforms, no presentation. The meeting is postponed. By then, von dem Busch...
Is it always just timing? Like, at some point, if I was one of these guys that had 3 plans to blow this motherfucker up, I'd be like, alright, I'm just gonna shoot him in the head.
Isn't an option anymore. Just 1 month earlier, he was seriously wounded. One of his legs had to be amputated. Instead, Stauffenberg now wants the 21-year-old Lieutenant Ewald Heinrich von Kleist to trade his life for Hitler's death. The young lieutenant takes his time to think about it and agrees. Von Kleist is ready to do the job and prepares. But Hitler cancels the appointment.
Yeah, just drop a grenade in his pants, dude. Like, literally. Oh, what's up? And just dip.
On short notice. On July 7th, 1944, the presentation of the new Wehrmacht uniforms finally takes place at a castle near Salzburg. This time, Major General Helmut Stief is chosen as
Chris said boogie bomb. Yo, that would have been whack. You walk up to him, punch him in the face, boogie bomb, throw it in his pants, and just run. Would you be able to get away quick enough? If you were trying to kill Hitler and you you put a bomb in his clothes and then ran, would you be able to run away quick enough? Probably not. How long after you pull a pin of a grenade does it blow up? 2 to 6 seconds. Well, then, what if I throw it a little late?
The assassin. He too is part of the resistance group. The odds of success are extremely high. An explosion at that distance is nearly unsurvivable. It's the perfect opportunity. Then, at the last minute, Stief hesitates and backs out. Sure, he wants to see Hitler dead, but he isn't willing to sacrifice his life for it. Yet, the group
Boxman for the 3. Can't wait to tell my kids how I watched an angry, ripped bald man on Twitch.
Around Stauffenberg doesn't give up. They plan a new attack. This time, Stauffenberg wants to do it himself. He aims not only to kill Hitler, but also to bring down the entire Nazi regime in one coordinated strike. In the early morning of July 20th, 1944, Stauffenberg and First Lieutenant
Drip for the 3. My great-grandpa was a tank commander for him. For Hitler?
Fly from Berlin to the Führer's headquarters. Stauffenberg is to report on the Eastern Front at a meeting with Hitler. It presents the perfect opportunity for Stauffenberg. He plans to arm 2 bombs in his briefcase, place it near Hitler during the meeting, and leave the room before the bombs go off. Then he plans to fly back to Berlin, where he and other resistance fighters plan to take over power.
Somebody said, Cap, that's crazy. I mean, it's not that obscene if you're of German descent, you having a family member that was in the German army or the Nazi army in World War II isn't that obscene. Because the people that got prosecuted and killed were the people that were in charge. Like, the average German infantryman that was 18 and literally a kid, 18, 19, serving Adolf Hitler, had no idea what was actually going on in depth, right? Like, maybe they knew that Hitler was against Jewish people and, like, wanted to kill Jewish people, but not to the extent of, like, torturing their fucking families and shit. The average dude that's just fighting Russians for the German army isn't somebody that's going to know that. All the guys that were high-ranking officers were the people that were all persecuted.
Or after Hitler's death. At the Führer's headquarters...
How many more vids until games? 4 minutes when we're done this.
Stauffenberg learns that the time of the meeting has been changed.
They had to work for the army, otherwise they get no money and people provide for them. I mean, I don't know the consequences of not serving the German army. In Russia, they'd kill your whole family. That's why the Russian army was scary in World War II. Because in the Russian army, it was like you're either fighting or your whole family dies, right? You're going to fight and you might die, or you're not going to fight and you and your entire family's going to die. So it was like a fucking no-brainer that you would join the Russian army, right? But I don't know what they did in Germany.
To a visit
but you never know, dude.
Of the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini, it is moved forward by half an hour. At around 12:15, Stauffenberg pretends to want to change his shirt. Together with Heften...
And they brainwashed the kids at a young age. Like, there's videos of Adolf Hitler talking. He's, like, a very charismatic guy. He, like, talks to, like, 6-year-olds when he, like, first gets it. Not even 6. Probably, like, 10. He's talking to, like, 10-year-olds. And they loved him, dude.
Told to hurry.
Doinks for the 3. Grandpa fought in World War II. He was there in the ISS, I think it was called, the CIA before the CIA. The Sheen for the 1,000 biddies. Love your streams. Thank you. You make my day better. Thanks for the amazing content. Thank you.
Not to be late for the meeting. Therefore, they can only arm...
Great-great-grandfather was at the shot heard around the world during the Revolutionary War. Thank you, Cooper, for the 3.
One of the 2 explosives. So Stauffenberg doesn't pack the second one and leaves it with Heften. He then enters the meeting. He puts his briefcase down near his target at the end of the table. Hitler and the bomb are now separated by only about 1.3 meters.
Just blow that bitch up with a fucking button, dude. What? Why do we gotta put a timer?
Stauffenberg gives his report and then immediately leaves the room.
How do you fumble this?
An important phone call. Everything is going according to plan. A few minutes later, Hitler leans over the table to further discuss war strategy. And the bomb detonates.
Oh my god. It doesn't kill him now.
Stauffenberg watches the explosion from 200 meters away and is certain. Hitler is finally dead. He flies back to Berlin with Heften to continue Operation Valkyrie. They plan to blame the SS and the Gestapo for Hitler's death. Then they want to take power and put an end to the Nazi dictatorship. But Operation Valkyrie failed.
How did that not blow him up?
In the meeting room,
right before. Hitler actually had to take a wee. So he went to the bathroom, and then the bomb blew up and didn't kill him.
Pressure wave caused the ceiling to collapse, and there's now a gaping hole in the floor where the briefcase once stood. The loud explosion ruptured the eardrums of almost everyone present. 4 people die. Almost all of the others are injured. Only 2 people got off lightly. One of them is Adolf Hitler. The fact that Hitler leaned over the table during the explosion saved his life. He was only thrown slightly upwards by the force of the explosion. If Stauffenberg had also placed a second bomb in his briefcase, the explosion probably also would have killed Hitler.
Or just chuck a grenade in the room, dude.
With the failed assassination attempt on Hitler, the planned coup to end the Nazi regime also fails only a few hours later. Stauffenberg and the 3 other main plotters are shot that very night in the courtyard of the Blender block. Those are the headquarters of the General Army Office, and it was the heart of military resistance. 200 other co-conspirators also get executed. It is the last known attempt to assassinate Hitler. On April the 30th, 1945, Hitler committed in the Führerbunker in Berlin.
Wow. W fucking vid. Alright. That was a good vid, though.